Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Azabi here, back again with Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Season 1. We are on episode 12, and in the last episode was probably my favourite episode of the show so far, because it was the one that I feel as though, specifically for the overarching story, so the complex episodes, everything like that, this was the one episode that actually gave me a sense of like, alright, I've got something I can grasp onto as to where, or at least as to how I think the Laughing Man is doing what he is doing. Whereas before it was all just like rumor and hearsay, and like it's just like, well, we've basically got nothing to go on. The last episode gave us something to go on, and now Togusa is like, he's my favorite character at the moment. He really is, because I just think with him being a human, like the human of the group, in a world that's basically run by cybernetics and robotics and prosthetics and all of this kind of stuff, that he's the one human, so he's the one with the sort of alter perspective. And one thing I didn't actually talk about in the last episode's post-discussion, when I was talking about Togusa possibly being the Laughing Man, because I couldn't think of any other reason as to why he was being hacked into, other than it was all from his own memory. That I remember in episode 1, I think, when Modoko came up to him and said, like, I think she just that's when we found out that he was brought in from the police force and everything like that, right? That I don't know if it was that episode or like episode 2 or something like that, but there was a point where it was said that he doesn't like cybernetics and all that kind of stuff, so if that can like sort of link into him, the reason why he's doing this is to, kind of overthrow society in that regard. I don't know. It could be a sort of a, it could be like that reasoning as to why he's doing it. I just thought I'd throw that out there because it wasn't something I actually talked about in the last episode. But yeah, I mean, the only thing going forward theorizing is that Togusa is the Laughing Man, and that everything that he was seeing inside the facility was bits and parts of his own memory that had hidden away and could only be unlocked by a virus similar to what was spread in the Superintendent General event thing. That like once he entered that sort of area, it opened it up for him. You know what I mean? So he could see what was going on. It's basically all I've got, you know what I mean? But it was definitely an interesting episode, so I'm excited for the next episode, if it is a complex one. I would like it to be. I feel like with the ending of last episode, it can easily transfer into this one. So I'm hoping this is another complex episode coming up, but if it's not, oh well, we'll go on with it anyway. So yeah, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 12. If you do want to go watch the reaction, links in the description below to the 10-minute version. There's also a link to the full length. If you do want to watch it in full, then the offer is there for you. Also, sorry for coughing and everything like that. I had my dinner, my lunch, in between recording these episodes, and every time I eat, it's just like I've got a terrible throat. Put it that way. You know what I mean? I'm always gagging. Don't take that and gif it or whatever the fuck. Anyway, yeah. So without further ado, we're gonna get into episode 12 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 12. I thought it would have been a complex episode, following after what happened last episode. Just the way that the last episode ended, I thought it would have went straight into a complex episode, but it didn't. And we got another standalone one. So, as you know, I do actually like the standalone episodes. This one was an odd one, but I mean, I kind of liked it. I mean, well, first and foremost, at least half of it was featuring a Tachikoma, which, you know that I love the Tachikomas anyway, so, but this one in particular is what they referred to as the one that Bato always uses. So it gets like preferential treatment and gets natural oil and everything like that, but because of that, it sort of seeped into the sort of into the mechanics of the actual robot itself, and ended up affecting it to the point where it doesn't even synchronize with the rest of them, anything like that. And this Tachikoma went on its own sort of little journey, Um, and then in the second half, it was in a way it was almost two standalone episodes that were connected by the finding of this cybernetic brain, in a way. But the thing that connects them both, I think, is the the episode title is called Escape From, right? But it never gives anything after that. I think it's just, the obvious one is the escape from reality, which is what the second half was all about. But I mean, even the first one was the Tachikoma sort of like escape from sort of, the inner workings of like this robot, the way that they're sort of designed. They alluded to it in episodes past where they said that, I think it was another standalone episode one. I think it was the one where the guy uploaded his consciousness to the big robot and was going to like kill his parents and whatnot. I think it was in that one where they said that the Tachikomas, it's not like they have sort of like their own, it's like all of them are sort of like one unit, but you have a bunch of different units. You know what I mean? Like, they all think the same way and everything like that. Though everything that they say and do alludes to the idea that they are individuals. But they're not. They're a collective. But this one in particular went on a sort of a journey, almost like of self-discovery in a way. But yeah, I mean, he escaped from the little facility that Bato has got set up there and just went out into the world, just to kind of almost explore what he is or what she is. I mean, I don't know what it is, because everything that was happening, revolving around that Tachikoma, was what is its existence. It can't feel, it can't truly understand, but everything that it's designed to do is almost take in surroundings or information that it's being given and react to it. So I think the big one was the fact of like it couldn't grasp the idea of like loving something so much and losing it, and therefore like crying over it, but it oozed out oil from its eye, almost to kind of like as a reactionary thing to sort of in a way comfort the girl, maybe. Like, everything that the Tachikomas do seemed to, like, in that respect, it was, you know what I mean? Like, it was taking in information around from the guy who was cooking the kebabs or whatever the hell they were, and realised that it shouldn't. I don't know if that was dog meat or not. I feel as though because of like the area that it was in and across the way there was a dog that was, it was clearly didn't have an owner. It was just like a wild dog that was roaming the streets and scavenging for food like when it can, kind of thing. That it's like the Tachikomas try to imitate human emotion but can't, you know what I mean? And so it was like a sort of like a journey of self-discovery in that respect. And it makes me wonder if that connection that he had with the brain, where he was like, you are me and I am you, I wonder if that is something that could affect the Tachikomas in the long run in some way, you know what I mean? Though the interesting thing is, you know what? I don't think it will. The reason for that is because it's a cybernetic, it's a robot. It's an AI, right? So maybe by attaching itself, like and connecting to that brain, that maybe it got a glimpse as to whatever that movie was, and got maybe some form of like information on the reason why, because it also made Motoko cry, right? So I wonder if there's something tied with human emotion there within that film that makes people not want to leave it. And therefore, if anything was to get the Tachikoma to sort of maybe realize or understand human and human emotion that much more, maybe that's what happened there. But even after that, even after connecting to it, the Tachikoma still related that he couldn't kind of comprehend. He couldn't really truly understand. So I don't know. Maybe for that one moment that he was connected, he was able to understand. But after he was away from that, there's also that thing with the whole idea of the ghost, right? And that the idea is, what I think about is like it's your consciousness within your shell, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The thing that matters is the consciousness, right? It's just the ghost that what matters. The shell is what allows you to move around and interact. But the Tachikoma wouldn't have that, right? So it was just an interesting sort of look into, something that we've obviously seen a million times before with other, shows, movies, stories, anything revolving androids, or anything like that AI. They always think about like, well, what does it mean to be a human? And they can never really connect with them on that level, and therefore they get to a point where they end up looking for it, right? But yeah, other than that, it was just the with the dog, Lockie, ended up being dead. And yeah, it was only 6 years old as well, but it had fallen ill. And yeah, the way that they presented it, it was like, yeah, the parents had it put down without Miki knowing about it, because obviously the parents didn't want her to get hurt, but she just ended up knowing, kind of thing. So yeah, it made me tear up. It's always the same. It's like, with animals, of course, I think a lot of us can always relate to that. As like, you know what I mean? It's always the case with, like, if you're watching a show or something, it's like if there's a pet companion with it, like, you know what I mean? It's like the main character's got a dog. It's like, you fuckers. It's because don't you? You just have this inkling, like, in the back of your head. It's like that fucking dog's gonna die. They're gonna use it as a tool to get a fucking response. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's the animals that don't. It's because they don't know any better. So it's like a human passing off its like pity for a creature that doesn't know as much as us. So therefore, it's more innocent. You know what I mean? And therefore, it's more of a shock, and it gets to people a lot more than generally a human dying. Not for everyone, I suppose, but a lot of us can feel that way, and therefore, like, a lot of the time, it's like, that's stuff I can't handle either. I've said before, like, when I'm watching shows and stuff, and it's like, if there's anything that involves kids, women, pets, fuck. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if it's like a sort of internal, like, natural thing that is being passed down through, genes from the past, of where it's just like, you know what I mean, the male is generally the one that's to protect, you know what I mean, the male is like generally being known across history as the protector. So in my head, I'm just like, you know what I mean, I don't know if that's just what it is or anything, but yeah, yeah, made me tear up with that one, but yeah, I thought it was weird when Miki was like, oh, I'm going all the way over there, you know what I mean, because the dog's probably there, and I was like, how? Well, if that's the case, what are you doing here, kind of thing. And then it's just weird, just odd. The whole thing, like, leading up to it, I was like, this dog's not around, is it? Like, either it's I had like a lot of things going through my mind. It's like either it's dead, which it was. When we found the fucking stall, I was like, oh god, I hope that's not it. I hope that's not it, because I was ready to start laying waste to my desk. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we had that, and then obviously the second half was the whole escape from reality thing, which I think in turn actually does, sort of go along with this whole world as it is, and also a bit of social commentary on the real world as well, because the show takes place in that sort of futuristic, we're all kind of becoming less human by extending our lives, whether with it be prosthetics or becoming part robot. You know what I mean? But then just this idea of like technology moving forward, how much we consume now in terms of storytelling in a medium of like whether it be movies or shows or anything like that. Not even just that though, but like also just phones, and just we're constantly connected to kind of everything, and how it kind of just, I guess like now you can use it, like, you can sort of compare it to like social media. Social media is a great example, because it's not reality. Social media, like people will talk about it like from their perspective, but really generally what it is that you'll have people that can tell the truth, people that won't tell the truth. So therefore the amount of people across the board on social media, you can never really, it's all about, I guess, who you trust in a way. But anyone just coming into social media not knowing anybody on it, whoever they follow, anything like that, can truly trust anybody else. And it's like social media now is people's news outlet, where it's just like, this is where I get my news. But then you have the thing is with social media is it's a fucking horrible place, because people can just say what they want, and a lot of the time it doesn't even mean anything. But you get these whole things of like where you have you can have one person say something and a group of people say it, and then they start spreading it. It's just too easy to spread of misinformation. And I guess in a way you could just relate that anyway to before social media, because that's kind of the way it was. It wasn't obviously as quick and as widespread, because the internet and everything like that can just be like from here to the other side of the planet. So but it's this idea of like a community gathering around one idea that could mean absolutely fucking nothing, but then they'll go against another person's opinion, and like I guess that's that whole thing with like cancel culture and everything like that. But everything's like moving towards that, right? This whole idea of technology getting to a point where we're always connected to everything, and therefore it's just like, well, reality is never what you picture it to be, as I feel like they're getting into here, which is the dreams and reality. The reason why the people stay in there is not because they're trapped or they're being hacked into and basically they've had their free will taken away from them. It's just that they are watching this and they can't pull themselves away. They choose to watch whatever that is because it's better than their own reality, and they see that as fact, and therefore that's the reason why they will never leave. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Motoko being a realist. It didn't work on her. You know what I mean? I guess to some degree, realists, people who claim themselves to be realists, may not be. They could be, persuaded, I suppose. It's wherever, like, whatever you can, if you can take your eyes away from it. You know what I mean? I think it was the fact that it made her cry, and more than anything, that was what pulled her out of it there. Because it was like a physical reaction at something that hadn't happened before, and she was more surprised by that happening that it pulled her out of it, and she was like, right, I'm off. Before I get pulled in, kind of thing. But no, I think she just has a real interesting perspective of the world, at the point where like it's grounded for her. So she knows when shit isn't right, and it's like, well, you know what I mean, I'm not gonna, I refuse to just spend my life watching this fucking shit because I know it doesn't do anything. I feel like she's so grounded that she wouldn't be affected by that. But yeah, the guy was called Wataru Kanozuki. Yeah, that was the guy had, a bit of his brain removed and his spine, and it's basically implanted within that thing. They told her, Motoko said remove it and everything like that. And I guess the idea is to hopefully try and get those people out. I was quite interested in the fact that she said that we should get the guy who's who sold it done for human trafficking. You know what I mean? Because I don't know to what degree that guy who sold it even knew what it was. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, interesting little standalone episode there. And again, I'm just wondering how much it'll really affect the Tachikomas moving forward, if it will at all. With the last two standalone episodes, it was, character development revolving around Motoko and Bado, and I just figured it would be interesting if there was a sort of change within the AI that allowed them to see things more from a human perspective. But we don't know. We don't know up until this point anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. If you do want to get access to episode 13 and 14 right now, then you can do with the early access tier Patreon over on my Patreon. That's for $5 a month. You get access to shows a week early. There's also the $10 there for the full length if you do want to watch it in full, not just the 10-minute version. And then there's the exclusive tier where you can get access to my movie reactions and everything like that when I start reacting to movies. So yeah, go have a look at those, see what they offer. There's also a link to the Discord down in the description as well. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.